Hello, we are here. It is July 21st. Hello, Brett.
Hello, Najins.
How's your weekend?
It was great. It
Yeah.
was fish filled, but we'll get to that later in the podcast.
Music to my ears. Music to
Literally.
my ears. Yeah. Um, yeah, I've just been listening to Camp Trash like a ton and Phish, obviously, because it's Phish season. But yeah,
Great interview coming up with Camp Trash. But yeah,
yeah,
that album still kicks ass. And I feel like I have a whole new perspective on it now after that interview, too.
yeah, it was really interesting. I thought hearing like behind the scenes stuff and how they go about writing and it was just I really enjoyed that. So that'll be coming at you guys soon. For now, let's get into some new music talk. We have a New Jersey band, I'd say they're OGs at this point. OG Jersey
They're def-
band.
your neck of the woods and Nicole's.
Yeah. Census Fail, buddy.
Pretty
They
much the only original guy left. So
Yeah. Hell is in Your Head. I guess this is their what? This has got to be like
eighth
eight.
studio album. Yep.
What'd you think?
So I was really impressed with this one. I mean, it was pretty dark at times, pretty apocalyptic, but I feel like I started listening to Census Fail when I was 13, 14. And I feel like I'm pretty much at the same point of life where Buddy is now. Maybe just like a couple years behind because he's obviously a little older.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is the most grown up Census Fail record that we've gotten so far. And it's not like your typical like emo like how they used to be. It's like dealing with issues that you deal with now, like in your 30s. Like there's the idea of like being afraid of dying, being afraid of being a parent,
Yeah.
grieving, the environment collapsing around us
Yeah.
pretty much. But he does, I mean, like some of the lyrics here are pretty like on the nose,
Yeah, a little
but a
bit.
lot of the things he's saying are, they really hit home. And I feel like he did a really good job writing this record. And I feel like it's probably their best release in since Renaissance, maybe, or
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think I would agree. I didn't get too into their previous releases since Renaissance.
I think that's why I'm saying that too. It's
So
the same with me.
yeah, which could mean I don't know. Could just mean I didn't listen to them enough to really know, but I don't recall them grabbing me. Um, yeah, you were right. Like this one definitely was more mature for him while still like kind of bearing his soul in a lot of it. Um, I enjoyed it. I thought the instrumentals were great. I thought when I wanted screams to come in, they came in. So that always makes me happy. Um, the
It
single
did
is
senses.
the single is great. Um,
That might be the best song on the
Death
album.
by Water. Yeah. And it hits so hard when it comes in because the first four, not that they're soft, but they don't pick up the same way the guitar comes in on that one. And I think that's a really good spot for it on the album because the album kind of it pulls you in gently and then it really grabs you with that one. Um yeah, it was pretty honest for him. There were some lines where you're like, oh shit. Like he's definitely going through some stuff. Like he had one that was like he's like, I spend more time worrying about when my friends are gonna die than like spending time with them while they're
Yep.
here. I'm
Same
like,
with his
well,
daughter too, right?
yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
that like is literally anxiety, like in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like
He
he
talks about it too. Isn't he? Like he's like they've diagnosed me or something. What I'm trying to remember the line.
yeah, I don't
It brings up the doctors diagnosing him with it.
yeah. Yeah, I vaguely remember that one. Um and then he had that feature on I think it was End of the World. It was
Second
Connie's
track, right?
Connie Scarboss of You Space Cowboy. And I thought it was the dude from Alisana. the way the way her voice is. Then I realized Connie is not a dude from Alisana, but someone who I have not heard of.
I've
But
actually never listened to them before.
no, but I thought it was cool. I don't know. The feature thing is becoming more and more prevalent. I don't hate it. I don't love it either, but like it doesn't it doesn't like turn me off from a song.
No.
So I kind of like the idea of these bands like pulling in new people and wanting to work with them. I mean, it probably works both ways. Like they get some new fans, some new exposure, and the featured person gets new exposure. So
It's a win-win for all.
yeah.
What's cool about this one too, though, is it was produced by Bo Burchell of Seosin.
Oh shit.
So I feel like kind of you can kind of get that, like feel that his thumbprint on this one a little bit, especially with some of the guitar playing and the heaviness to it at times musically.
Yeah, I
And I
can
think that's why I
totally
really
see
liked
that.
it too.
Like the vocals and like their delivery and stuff, that kind of like it's that same kind of style. Now that you mention it,
They're
I
all
can totally
firing
put
in
it together.
sequence, kind of like it's all lining up and working as it should,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense at all. But that's how I like see it in
Um,
my head, kind of playing out.
yeah. There were a couple that didn't quite hit for me. These bands and like I don't know, like Miles to Go, I really liked the message. Like I liked everything he was saying, but I didn't really like the melody too much
Or hearing that the
on
polar
it.
bears are dying.
Yeah. Like I mean, it's true. And that is like there are things like then there was like the Rush Limbaugh song, which I just don't know like how I feel about these political songs because I feel like they won't stand the test of time really. And maybe that's not the intent. I don't,
I don't know. I feel like this one kind of worked a little bit. I like the punch it had to it. Like it's like they have like your number waiting for you in hell, pretty
yeah.
much. And
No, it was cool. And it
yeah,
was angry. And
it's a good
like
angry song. Yeah.
I'm not like some like Rush Limbaugh defender out here. I just like it was so on the nose that it's like, I don't know. He even named the song like Lush Rimbaugh.
I wonder who that's about.
It had a cool guitar solo. And then there was what I liked is the guitar echoed the cadence of the vocals at the end. Like I
That was
forget
really
how it
cool.
went, but it would kind of mimic them in the background, which was cool because usually like you'd hear like a scream do that or something. So to hear it from a guitar was I thought pretty clever.
He's got a good band around him, it seems, even though it's like none of the original members, but I like what
Yeah,
they're doing right now.
I don't know like their history really with members. Has it been like rotating for a while now?
I'm pretty sure if you go to like the Wikipedia page, like it's just, yeah, the past members list is gigantic.
The bar, the only one bar that's going the whole way is
That
Buddy.
he's the only one.
Yeah,
And last one was Dan Trapp, who was there until 2014.
hmm,
Dan Trapp was the drummer.
yeah. No,
Oh, but now he's back to being their session drummer. That's interesting.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, they've been around. They've been around. Let It Unfold You was one of like the first albums that got me into like this whole genre. So
Yep, that was a big one for me. Still
yeah,
searching, as we talked about on our emo draft, and
yeah,
Renisher was big for us in our senior year of college. Remember, like when they went really heavy on that one.
yeah. I remember I got to interview him that year, like on the phone. It was pretty cool. I asked about old songs and he did not want to talk about old songs, which is maybe fair in hindsight. Like I was supposed to talk about the album and I'm like, do you guys still play Irony of Dying on Your Birthday? He's like, shut up, kid. Whoops.
After they made like their most hardcore album ever.
Yeah. Well, that's also a really heavy song. So there's some there's some overlap.
It's like asking about Mia Moore.
Yeah, that one was cool.
Closure Rebirth.
It was very out of like left field. Like they switched it up big time.
They went balls to the wall on that one. Loved it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But then I can't remember Pull the Thorns from Your Heart, or If There's Light, It Will Find You. I remember liking it, but I feel like it didn't stick as the other ones have. the one that came out in 2018.
I recognize the album covers, so sure, I listened to them at one point, but I can't really tell you songs off of them. Well, I think From the Depths was a redo of like their very first album. Yeah.
That's with
Bloody
what's that?
Romance and
That's
Dreaming
it,
of
yeah.
Reality. Yeah. Yeah, so that I think they just re-recorded their first album, or he did rather. But yeah, I'll go back to this a few times.
I went to head on the gym this morning too. It's a good gym album.
Oh yeah, good call.
That's for sure.
What's the gym? Have you gone back to Shinedown at all since last week?
I have not. No.
Yeah,
I have listened to a couple individual songs off it, but as far as listening to as a whole, no.
yeah, yeah. I haven't either. I've just been reading about people talking about it on Reddit. That's about it. Still very split on how people feel, but
I've actually been listening to a lot of a place in the sun lit.
really,
I don't like because I listened to the playlist where they had the bass player on, and it sent me down like a lit wormhole, and I've been stuck in it ever since.
Oh yeah, that's their '99 album. I was
Yeah.
thinking you meant the new one.
No, it's with For My Own Worst Enemy,
Yeah,
Miserable, Ziploc, which is just phenomenal.
I really should go. I'll try going back to that. I mean, I recognize the album. Like, obviously, it was huge, but I don't know that I ever like put it on front to back.
Pretty good. Like there's some like they're not all great, but overall, I think it's still their best album.
Another 1999 album, which we get to with Camp Trash in a little bit.
It is, yeah. Got to have them back on for that. I think that would be a fun draft. We can pull that one off.
Yeah, they could call in from the road if they have another long drive. Like,
they have a spreadsheet already to go. So
true, they did the work.
I don't know if I agree with their number one, but we'll let you guys see who they picked.
Yeah, it was kind of a long interview. We could probably just throw it to that right now while we're talking about him. Yeah. All right, sounds good. And then we'll pick it up after. We now welcome on a very special guest. Part of the band is here. More might be coming. Camp Trash. They just put out their first full-length album, The Long Way, The Slow Way. It's available on all streaming platforms, as well as some super cool vinyl variants. Guys, thank you so much for picking up the fucking phone when we called from our basement.
Oh, hell yeah. We're happy to be here,
guys.
Yeah.
Levi, I was telling Brian before, like, we've been listening to the crap out of this album. Like, it is on just repeat over and over. You guys did great.
Too sweet. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's so fun. And we mentioned downtiming before, like, you guys last year, or I guess it was was it last year?
It was 2021.
2021. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was just like this small EP from a band we never heard of, and it was so good. And I'm like, who are these guys? Like, how did this happen? And now you have this great new album out. Does it feel as fast for you as it does for us, or has it been a slow grind?
Well, I feel like I think it feels as fast for us as it does for you guys, but we also have been playing music for so long, so it doesn't feel like we're a band that came out of nowhere. Like, it does feel like we were grinding a little bit, but at the same time, like, none of us really, like, we never pursued it in the way that, like, we are pursuing it now, in that, like, we accepted like a record deal, and we're like touring, and like we made a lot of changes in our like lives to make it work. So like all of that feels like it happened really fast and is growing really fast. But yeah, I definitely feel like, I know Levi's been in bands for years, so we've been around, just haven't really been out there, I guess.
This is like the most serious band so far, I'd imagine, if you just signed to Count Your Lucky Stars.
Yeah, it's the first time that we really we've always been writing together, but it was the first time that we decided that we were going to actually get it professionally recorded. And then once we recorded it, we felt like we put together something better than just like putting tapes out with it. So like, it was Keegan's idea initially to start reaching out to like contacts that he knew, just because like he's been active on Twitter for a long time and made a lot of connections with people. And so he was like, hey, do you mind if I like reach out to some record labels to see like what they think about it? And that's when we reached out to Keith from Kind of Lucky Stars. And yeah, he loved the EP. He was like wanting to work with us and was excited to work with us. And us being people who are like fans of a lot of the revival bands, the emo revival bands, like in 2011, 2012, it felt like for us, it was like a cool experience just to be like, oh, cool. Like Keith from Empire wants to do something with us, like, you know, wants to be connected to us in any way. Like we definitely were a little like starstruck and a little bit like excited just about the opportunity of like working with someone who worked with bands that we loved, like, you know, Snowing and Brave Bird and Into It Over It and all those great bands that came out of Kind of Lucky Stars.
I really feel like we've been starstruck at like every step, that every single time something else happens, that it feels like a cool thing that I never really anticipated would actually happen. So it feels like every single time something happens, we are lucky. We are, I don't know. Keegan always says we're just happy. Like we're happy to be here. Like very grateful to just be around. Yeah. And I think that is a genuinely good summary of how we feel.
I mean, not to sound like a brown noser, but like we're happy that you guys are here too, because Nick and I are like big fans of like a lot of those bands from like 2011, 2012 too, and we feel like so many of them aren't around anymore, like Modern Baseball, You Blew It. So like you guys are like perfect to scratch that itch of like something that we've been like dying to hear for years now since they broke up.
Sadly. I want You Blew It to come back so bad.
Oh, we do too.
Some stuff.
I know Tanner's still doing. I mean, well, he was in Couplet and they were on tour with Pool Kids and Into It Over It, and they played a couple sets. One in Orlando, I know, but then they played like a song or something in like New York or something. But yeah, hopefully, I think he's mentioned that there's like nothing happening right now, but I hope something does happen, because that would be especially here in Florida. I feel like there's, you know, that's like just one of the staple bands for us here. So
I know Keegan was banging that drum on Twitter last week too. I had a bunch of You Blew It tweets.
Yeah. Keegan tries to like, you know, just ignite something. It's like maybe if they see that there's enough buzz happening around their name, they'll just like decide to come back. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
Brett mentioned Modern Baseball. I think it's in Pursuit. You say my loose ends, my old friends. Is that a little nod to like Apartment by Modern Baseball, or am I reaching here?
No, I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't know that there was any connection. I loved Modern Baseball when they came out, so I wouldn't be surprised if something like, you know, snuck in, but it's definitely, it's not wasn't intentional.
Unfortunately, as they go, my loose ends, my new friends.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Well then we definitely stole that.
Yeah, then we definitely
Oh no, I'll cut this part.
There's definitely moments where like I'm writing something and then I listen to like a Weaker Than song or something and I'm like, all right, I listened to this song too many times and it just snuck into the lyrics. Like I didn't mean for it to happen this way.
So what's the writing process like? Like, do you write all the lyrics, Brian, or is it collaborative, or how's it kind of go down?
Yeah, it ends up being pretty collaborative. I think for the most part, like I'll start with like the idea. So like I write most of my songs on acoustic guitar, so I'll just kind of like figure out something that feels like a good shape for a song. Get kind of like most of like the melodies of like a verse or chorus down a little bit. And then at that point, it's when I either send it to like Levi or Keegan, just to get their feedback on like whether it's worth even pursuing further. And then I think from there, it's like from the input from Keegan and Levi, there's like a good, there's just like good like restructuring of melodies, or like a lot of like lyrics get rewritten in that process. So like, I mean, we even leading into the week of us being in the recording studio, there was like lyrics that Levi had added that got added into the record. A lot of times like the first verse chorus is mine, and then like Keegan will. Oh no, you're good.
Hey, is he here?
Yeah.
Oh, speak of the devil.
So wait, we mentioned it before we started, but Brian, you're singer guitar. Levi, you're bass vocals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bass and harmonies.
What's up, Keegan? Thanks for
Hey,
joining
Cohen.
us.
Thanks for letting me hop in here last minute.
Oh yeah, no problem. So you would be lead guitar?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Nailed it. we're just talking about like the songwriting process and how Brian works on stuff and then sends it around. And I was wondering because like me and my friend, we write, but like it's just us like in my basement, nothing serious. But we've reached a point where I'll write something and he'll just be like, nah, like that sucks. Like there's no like feeling bad about feelings anymore. So kind of how does it go for you guys? Is it just very straightforward like that, or do you try and play nice?
Oh yeah, there's nothing precious with what I'm working on ever. So I think, like I said, for the most part, it's me starting with something, and then I'll send it to Keegan mostly, like because we've been writing forever together. But usually, yeah, if Keegan doesn't like something, it's usually him just not saying anything for a really long time. If I know I land on something good when he gets really pumped about something, or like I just get like a series of texts from him that's like, yes, this is it, this is great, this is the one. And so like that's usually how it at least starts. I'll let Keegan.
Yeah, I think just to chime in, I think Keegan is an incredible editor. He writes very good songs, but I think the main role he plays in the band, besides on lead guitar, is he edits everything. He is essentially taking the raw thing that Brian gives and restructuring it or redoing something, and it somehow always ends up rocking. This is a little too on the nose, but it does remind me of Paul and John Lennon.
Paul
John I'm
Baraboo
talking
and
about.
John Lennon. Yeah, Brian and I have written together since we were kids, and so I think that there's like, nobody's protective of their stuff. There's like an intuitive trust. I think that Brian sends me songs that I'm just like, okay, these are done. Like Weird Carolina is a song that I just added some leads over top of, and that was it, because I felt like the song was done, the thing was perfect, and I couldn't do anything more to change it, to make it better. And I think that we have kind of like a trust in the other person's instincts, and so we will hand the song off pretty readily to be worked on, just because I think that we both speak the same language and we both know where the other one's headed. And we can kind of finish each other's sentences a little bit. In fact, a lot of what we write these days is like we each take a verse and half a chorus or something. Like we split stuff down the middle a ton. But yeah, typically Brian will send me when he's cooking, when for whatever reason it's like a song a week or 2 songs a week for a little while, and I'll figure out which ones I like, and then get very excited about that one and just like text him like very abruptly, like, this rocks, but there's no chorus, or this is great, we're going to get rid of all the words and start over, but this is great. But yeah, I like the co-writing process. I like working together on a thing. And as someone who like really likes music, I really like that my role in the band is like figuring out interesting arrangements and structures for stuff. I really love, like, I'm really fascinated right now by Built to Spill and Joyce Manor, who do like the opposite thing. Like Joyce Manor songs always feel like they're done, even though they're like a minute and a half. And Built to Spill songs never feel like they've overstayed their welcome, even though they're all over 6.5 minutes. And like, I love that there's a reason that's happening. There's something that they're doing that is making that work. And I like trying really hard with our songs to write stuff that like achieves a vision I have in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also like pretty lazy when it comes to songwriting. So I feel like for me, like I really believe in like if I'm in the energy of the thing, like if I feel like I'm cooking on something and I like this is heading in the right direction, I get excited about it. Like I try to like exhaust that energy of being like, all right, this thing that feels really good, I want to see it all the way through. And then I'm kind of like done with it. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to spend more time on it. Where I think Keegan is somebody who is like the opposite, who loves to be like let's like really labor over this idea. Let's actually give it the best version of this thing. Like it's good, but it can be better if we do, X, Y, Z or whatever.
Yeah, because there's little things I noticed, just like there's like ooze over the solo in the first half of Lake Erie, and then what other song? There's like a bop bop happening in the background, like someone like do things like that get added just at the very end? Like you think, oh, we need a little something extra here, or is it kind of in the initial vision?
Yeah,
It depends a lot. Like sometimes it's essential to the song, and sometimes it's like the vocal stuff. I write melodies kind of, but I'm not like, I can't sing at all. So I'm like really not helpful writing harmonies and things like that. Levi does a lot more of like harmony stuff. But like the Lake Erie boy, like the bop bas in like Let It Ride,
Yeah,
those were like very last minute, something Brian worked out with the producer. But the woes or the whatever in Lake Erie Boys, that was like as soon as we had that riff section written, we had those vocalizations over it. Like that was an essential part of it. So
yeah,
Brian, you can say more about that.
Yeah, there were some things that I heard like in pre-production, like when we were still working through the song, that were just like little ear candy stuff that I thought would be good. Kyle Hoffer, who produced the record, he did a lot of he's really good at that too. Like he thinks about things in like ways that I don't think about. I'm very much like where can I add a hey, a ooh, a yeah, and he's very much like we could do like a nice like we're gonna add a bop thing. I'm like, well, I would never think to say bop in like a vocal ear candy thing. So it was definitely a lot of, some things happened, like the Lake Erie Boy stuff happened in the writing process. But there was a ton, like even just while I was in the booth, where Kyle's like, I hear this thing, do you want to try it? And then we try it and keep it. So like, I think I don't know if there was anything we didn't use when it came to that, to those instincts, but yeah.
So I know we kind of talked a little bit about the early 2000s influences, but I know like in previous interviews, you guys had mentioned like kind of taking that 90s pop rock that you guys liked and kind of mixing that into this record, which clearly like you can hear like little hints of the Gin Blossoms and things like that. So I was just curious, like what kind of bands from back then were you guys listening to at the time, or like who are your go-tos normally when you like to put that on?
We started off the recording of that record essentially listening to Narcolepsy by Third Eye Blind like 6 times in a row.
No, like 30 times. We got drunk as hell and listened to Narcolepsy for hours. It felt like
that's such a great song, though.
Just over and over again.
Yeah, it never with the intention of us writing anything close to it, but just if like even if a little bit could have just like rubbed off on us, like it was. We just wanted to be able to like be in the same space, as
I think it was production. I think we started recording that way because we wanted to hear like, that's like a perfectly produced record, man. Like every single drum sound, every guitar sound is just perfect. And we were trying to hear things that we could like, not songwriting stuff, but sonic stuff we could emulate. And we just got hammered. That song rocks. But I have a long running theory that like has been true for as long as I can remember. A band will say that they're releasing their Third Eye Blind record or that they're inspired by Third Eye Blind, and then they will drop the worst record of their career because nobody has ever sounded like Third Eye Blind except for Third Eye Blind since that record. And in fact, Third Eye Blind doesn't sound like that record. It's like a special rare moment of like perfect pop songwriting, perfect production. It all came together. And that's a band you're stupid to try and imitate because you'll just sound silly. But something like the Gin Blossoms, I mean, they're incredible songwriters, but there's something much more accessible about their guitar playing. And it's very familiar to me, like the picking through cowboy chords and like that kind of guitar style is very reminiscent of like church music. And the way that Brian and I learned to play our instruments essentially was like playing church music in high school. My dad's like a church music pastor, or was for a lot of his life. And those structures and that kind of playing was really intuitive to me, but I really like how jangly that 90s stuff is and the blend of the acoustic and electric guitar, and how like warm and thick that feels and how rare that is, like a recording where the acoustic and electric guitar are like right up against each other, like the same volume. You hear it like Sixpence None the Richer too. This weird moment in like 90s pop rock where the production is just so cool.
Like the beginning of Kiss Me almost, like that kind of jangly guitar.
Yeah, and then but they have like Sixpence None the Richer for like 6 years just released more and more chaotic albums. Like the album after that album, like the 2002 album or whatever, I don't remember the name of it anymore. Divine Discontent or something. It's got like a bird on the cover. It's insane. I think, Brian, we listened to that on the way home, I think, from the last drive home. From Atlanta, maybe. It just is crazy how cool the electric guitars sound and how, I don't know. I think that there's a lot, I don't want to get on a tangent, but I think there's a lot of like generic sounding ways to record a guitar, and it's just there. And I really worked closely with Kyle. Like I have an idea of what I want, and I like have my pedals and my guitar and my amp and stuff, but Kyle's really like a visionary and like has worked really hard to be able to replicate certain kinds of the sounds. And so he and I worked really hard on making all the guitars sound interesting. And so there's not supposed to be a guitar track or a rhythm track or anything that sounds standard or like boring. Like those 90s records, I wanted every part of the recording process to feel like necessary.
Yeah, I'm looking at our old playlist that we did for like inspo for the record. We got the Goo Goo Dolls on here. We got old Superchunk on here.
Oh yeah, because old Superchunk and old Goo Goo Dolls both sound like the Replacements, and none of us
old Jimmy World.
Yeah, and none of us listened to the Replacements for some reason. But I really loved that urgency of like early Superchunk and everything. Actually, probably our newer stuff is going to sound more like Superchunk than this record does.
Yeah.
On the topic of guitar tone, I had a question for Levi. The bass tone on Toyota Thon is so nasty. Like how did you
good,
get that?
right?
Is that just like a super fuzz pedal, or what's going on there?
Do any of y'all remember? I think we were plugged into some wild shit through Kyle's rig.
I really like the only way to like, we're not going to explain any of the guitar tone things too specifically, because what Kyle does is he puts a row of pedals together on one side and then a row of pedals together on the other side, and then he puts an A/B selector pedal in the middle with a fade knob to get more of A or more of B. He then twists all the knobs at random until each side is doing something different, and then fades those two sides in and out of each other to find what he's looking for. So Levi's bass could have been any hundreds of things. Wow. Like, so I don't remember at all. Kyle would know. I think that we were running it direct, but we ran it through some crazy rack mounted stuff, I think.
That's super cool. That was just experimenting like that. It's got to be a lot of fun just picking sounds and just like turning knobs till you get something you like.
Yeah, it was so sick doing 2 straight weeks of like sleeping and waking. Everything is about that record. You just get in such a place of, I'm just thinking about every detail of the record, and at every stop where you need something new, everyone's just like obsessing over this one sound. Like, what is this one small part supposed to sound like? Twisting knobs and plugging new things in. It's so much fun.
Because the band, you guys don't all live super close, right? You're kind of split. So the record was recorded in that 2-week run? Like, were you on a deadline, or was it a little more flexible?
I think it was mostly just like personal deadline, because we at the time we were all like working our jobs like 40-hour weeks. Like Keegan's in Portland, I'm in Bradenton, Levi's in Gainesville, Alex is in Bradenton too. But like so really it was just like for us to take any time away from our lives. Like we kind of had to make the most of it. So I don't even think it was 2 weeks. It might have been even shorter, or I don't even remember. It was like a week and a half or something of us.
Yeah, it was like 10 days.
Yeah, of us like from start to finish, just getting. And we didn't even really finish it. I mean, like we got all the parts done that like we needed to get done as far as like guitar. We got drums, bass, and guitar, like rhythm guitar done for the most part. I know Keegan stayed like a week or 2 later at Kyle's and working from Kyle's to like work on guitar tone stuff.
I moved into Kyle's house, lived on the couch, and then my flight kept getting canceled. So I recorded lead guitar for like over a week after that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went back up like a couple of different weekends to do vocal stuff. Like I think one of the days I did like 13 hours straight of vocals. It was like, I just remember because Kyle's like pretty intense. And like, if the heart, like if you're not hitting it like right, or if he like the timbre's off a little bit, he's like, I think you have a better like version in you. And then I'm like, dude, we have like 8 more songs left. Like we need to like, I appreciate the commitment to quality on this, and like I want it too, but like I'm also gonna die. Like I need to be able to also speak tomorrow.
Oh yeah, something about how clean the record is. Like it's very bright and clear, and like that's a lot of Kyle. Like we're a little bit noisier by nature, and Brian's a great singer, and I think I'm really glad the record kind of showcases that. And that's like my favorite part about the band is hearing Brian sing stuff, but like. Kyle is much more interested in like getting it perfect, getting it like we tune every 4 seconds. Like, between every single take we tune. Everybody washes their hands before they play guitar just to not like rust through the strings in a day. And
God,
like
I hated that.
Yeah, and I mean this is so antithetical to the way Levi does everything. Levi finishes songs sort of like if you park the car by driving it into your neighbor's garage. That's how Levi finishes every song. He's just like, fuck it, song's done. and it's awesome. But most of Levi and I's arguing about stuff on the record was when I took more than 4 minutes to decide something, and Levi's like, this is fucking stupid. Nobody needs to take this long.
Because the question is always just, does this rock really hard? And if the answer is yes, it rocks, you're done. If not, then make it rock harder.
Yeah, correct. I think that you're right. And that's why the next record is going to be like half as long.
That sounds like a great approach to live shows. I'm sure that translates well on stage.
Yeah, I think we learned to rock. Yeah, we got louder before we got better, and then we got better because we realized getting louder wasn't quite enough.
Yeah.
How has the tour been? I know you guys toured with Spanish Love Songs for a little bit. Were you just itching to play the new songs? Were you mixing them in? How did that go?
Yeah, we weren't really planning on touring until the Spanish Love Songs tour. We kind of lucked into the Free Throw tour because of our friends in Worst Party Ever that were going to tour through January. They ended up getting the Free Throw tour, and then our management is great, and they were able to kind of like not convince them, but they asked them if we could jump on the tour, and they said yeah. So we weren't planning on touring so early. We also weren't planning on releasing our record so late. So it wasn't that we were like rushing to get out and tour, but once we did, we loved it. Like we loved being on the road. We loved playing the shows. And I think we were excited to keep doing it. We would have liked to have been able to have a record out before and touring on the songs. So people may or may not be able to know it, but as an opening band, we were just happy to be out in front of people playing shows. And because we're never together, we never really get to play the songs together anyways. So it's like nice for us to also like hear these songs live and like feel them out and like learn them again with each other live. So it was a ton of fun, but no, we weren't urgent to get out. We had some opportunities and took advantage of them.
Yeah. We had to play the new stuff because we only had 4 songs. We had like 13 minutes of music, which is not enough to fill a set. So we had to play new stuff, but we were excited to. The new stuff was written to be like full band and played live, and the other stuff's all kind of an acoustic guitar. And so I think the new songs have been more fun to play live in general.
Yeah.
Now, Nick and I are from New Jersey, so like naturally we have to ask about the New Jersey date with Spanish Love Songs, with, of course, the now infamous Gallagher incident that was captured in the music video. So I read the story today, and I thought it was one of the funniest things I ever read, but I want you guys to tell us what happened. And then also, I want to know the aftermath of the watermelon in the parking lot in front of Beer Garden in Asbury Park.
Who wants to tell the story?
I'm not responsible for any of this bullshit. I said no.
Yeah.
You weren't there, Keegan, so.
I was working that day on a laptop, and then I had just bought an amp from an old guy in the a farm in Ohio and was trying to figure out how to get it to sound right. And there's just a text in the group chat that just said, Ogbert is bringing the sledgehammer. And I said, oh no. But I think Levi might have masterminded this.
Yeah, we had so many ideas for bits on tour that we kept backing down from. And I decided at some point when I was like, I just said I was done with work and I was way too hyped on this one idea. I just decided we're going to follow through with this bit and I'm going to force us to. So I texted Madison from Ogbert, who was playing with us that night. And I was like, do you know anybody with a sledgehammer? And they were like, actually, yes, one of our band members has a sledgehammer and they're bringing it. And so I went and bought a watermelon immediately. And Keegan's like on the phone with his boss. And I just opened the side of the car door while he's trying to pretend he's not on tour with his job. And then just put a watermelon in the back seat and leave.
So the plan was never to smash the watermelon, right? You just wanted to confuse the crowd a little bit.
Yeah. The bit was kind of running
so much.
The bit was running for a while. What?
You have to explain the beginning of the bit, like the reason we had a watermelon to begin with.
Well, so I think it may have started in the free throw tour, right? Like we were talking about the idea of, I just thought it would be funny if, and the bit initially was going to be more of like a slow build into, like, let's start with the watermelon on the stage, not say anything, just assemble it, play the show, and then take it down. And then it was going to move into like, all right, now we're going to get the sledgehammer. And like, so now there's a sledgehammer on stage next to the watermelon. And then we, another show where we're done, go off stage. And then maybe we show up in like a hazmat suit or something. Like it just keeps elevating into us being like, they're definitely going to smash this watermelon. But yeah, we just, for whatever reason, we just kept talking about, Gallagher became like part of the joke, the running joke in the car that like and I think we just like talked about it, like pulling the Gallagher, but the Gallagher that never comes. So Keegan, I don't know, if you want to talk about the play, because I feel like that evolved into its own like thing.
No, it just boiled down to how funny would it be if we set up like we were going to do a Gallagher. We had all the pieces. We had the sledgehammer, the watermelon, the stool, everything. And then the whole set went by with everybody waiting for us to smash the watermelon. And then at the end of the set, we just pick up the watermelon, the sledgehammer, and we leave. And we never say anything about it.
Yeah. So that was pretty much, we just kept talking about doing it and discussing how funny it would be if we actually ever did it. And then I think it was because the Asbury Park show was the show before that was when Spanish Love Songs got COVID and had to cancel the rest of the dates. So we were already kind of in like maniac mode, thinking about like, all right, what do we do as far as like, we're going to play this one show, but then there's like no shows after this, but we're still in New Jersey. Like we have to get home to Florida. We technically still have like 2 weeks of our lives that we can like, if we can figure it out, we'll find a way to like schedule more dates and just like play shows to get home at the very least. So we were just in kind of a crazy mindset anyways, I think, of just like the combination be like, all right, tour's over. Save Face is going to play a headline show where we're going to be direct support. I don't know what the show's going to be. Let's just get the watermelon. Let's commit to the bit now. And luckily Ogbert also was like very on board to do it. So even like, as we got to the venue, I think Madison was like, so is it cool if we also like do the watermelon bit? And we're like, oh yeah, we even opened the door to Safe Face, but I think at that point we had they've already been like gone. So yeah, it was a very awkward day. And I feel like there's a ton of people who kept asking us about the watermelon, and we just decided for some reason also not to acknowledge it. So like, I think at one point Madison was on stage and they were like wrapped up with their set, and somebody like yelled like, "What's up with the watermelon?" And Madison didn't hear them. And Madison was like, "What happened? What's up with the watermelon?" And Madison just turned their head and just walked off stage. That was it. It was awesome. But yeah.
So the other thing is we got to that venue in Asbury Park.
and we were setting it up. I was setting it up for Ogbert, I think, putting it on stage at some point. And there is someone at that venue who is doing the show, putting the show on, like was there clearly organizing the thing, was in charge of whatever show was happening. And one of them comes up to us very, very concerned because they see a watermelon and a sledgehammer on their stage. And this guy just asked, like, hey, I'm just curious, what is this for? And we are very upfront, trying to be as nice and open as possible. Like, hey, we're not going to smash this thing. We're really like, this is just a bit. The whole bit is we're not going to smash it. And several times throughout like sound check that night, the same guy comes up and he's like, y'all, are you sure you're not going to smash it? Because you have a sledgehammer. It's on a stool. Like, we know the bit. I know what's going to happen. And we have to keep reminding this. We have to keep convincing this guy, like, this is not, I promise you, you're not going to get watermelon. We're not going to get watermelon all over your stage. And he was clearly, I thought it was so funny because he's obviously thinking the most reasonable thing. We have designed a watermelon smashing session and told him this is not going to be that thing that you can see with your own eyes that we're going to smash the watermelon. But I promise you, it's not going to happen.
He was very concerned. Yeah, we had to walk him through the whole bit. But then I think and part of it too is like, it wasn't even just like the obvious like terrible mess that it would create with a watermelon being smashed on stage, but also he was just like, well, I mean, like the stool is our property. Like, I also don't want you to break the stool. So he was like starting just to like revert to like, listen, like, I just don't damage our property at this point. Like, and I was like, listen, like we are not here with any intention of destroying anything. We just want to have a watermelon on a stage during a set and then take it down. That's it. That's the end of it.
He was bargaining by that point. He accepted the watermelon was getting smashed.
Yeah,
just don't break the stool.
He's like begging with us.
If it sounds confusing now to you, it is to us, and it was to everyone then as well. It is one of the things
that's why
that we really committed to the bit.
Yeah,
there's a delirium about being on tour in one small Jeep Patriot with 3 other dudes for that long. You just think everything is so fucking funny at some point. I have like a list of our bits that we just couldn't stop laughing at. For days on end, we would talk about like the bit of the two pilots from 9/11 just being very bad pilots, just being incredibly bad at their job.
Oh yeah, and then we tried to make a spreadsheet to rank every single album released in 1999.
Oh, that was
like insane. We were really coming unglued.
We listened to so much Weird Al.
Yeah, like first we just couldn't get a tour east of or west of Atlanta, so like, and we had to get to Texas. So like I think our last show was in like South Carolina, so we just had like a 24-hour drive with no shows for like 2 days. And so yeah, at that point is when I think things were really starting to come unglued for us. We were that's when the 1999 album ranking started. The spreadsheet's pretty deep into 99 too. I think
do we have a current winner? Like, do we know right now?
That was my next question.
We're close. We're about 50 or 60 albums in. I think that we're trying to get through like 100 of them.
Yeah, I think last I was a part of it. Perfect from Now On, or Keep It Like a Secret, whichever one was that Built to Spill record from that year, was probably top of our list.
Where was Enema of State? We talk way too much Blink on this podcast, so I have to.
It was
up, but like
Blink was up
ranking.
It was like 9 point something.
Lists. No, I certainly tanked that record. That was
when you tanked him.
Yeah, where was Astro Lounge by Smash Mouth?
Pretty high.
Number one, right?
That was higher. It was higher, yeah. It
significant other.
That one was also I forgot where we ranked that one, but that was in like the 7 or 8s, I think.
And 99 was good. Clarity, Jimmy Eat World.
Oh yeah.
I think that's why we started. I think we started realizing that there was all these great records from 99.
So there's so many good
records. We were like, let's just rank them all.
Did you include rap? Because the Slim Shady LP came out that year also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we listened to that in its fullest.
Levi had never heard the Slim Shady LP. And
oh man.
It hasn't aged well.
Oh my God, I forgot about listening to this. Okay. I love that record now.
Yeah, no,
so
I think
funny.
I think it's better now than I thought it was. It's because I don't know if I realized how funny it was. Like I really thought when I was a kid that Eminem was like trying to be scary, like Marilyn Manson or something, but he's like literally just doing like Donald Duck voices, and like he's hilarious. He's just doing jokes, and I don't know. But yeah, we also listened to Scooby Snacks by the Fun Loving Criminals 150 times.
Oh
Yeah,
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
rightfully so. Yeah.
Brian, as someone who's been listening to this album nonstop, I feel very invested in this next question. How is quitting smoking cigarettes going for you?
Well, so that's funny. That's actually one of Keegan's songs. So you'll have to ask Keegan. But
it's definitely a theme.
Yeah, I think it's so like none of the songs are strictly autobiographical. Like it sounds like a big like a feelings record, but there's like there's a handful of like characters that are like in this story to me. I think that the cigarettes thing actually came up. It's in some of your songs too. But yeah, as far as for me, I don't smoke at home and I do smoke on tour, and that's about where it was at.
Sounds about right.
But I think the character in the story, like, you know, one of those characters is clearly going in circles in a lot of ways, and the constantly picking up and putting down cigarettes is just part of that. It's just like, I don't know. The long way to the slow way is kind of like the joke of it to me is that it doesn't refer to anything specifically, but the joke of it to me is that the long way to the slow way is like going in circles for a long time and then heading in the right direction. Like it's not, the journey is sometimes you spinning out for a really long time, knowing the right way to go and just taking a super long time to get there.
Yeah. In between.
Sorry.
You go. It just in between the like cigarette references between Poured Out and Church Bells, there is like this very, I think, very real to life narrative of this person is clearly just kind of frustrated that they can't fix this thing, that they're like that the bad habits kind of going in circles and they're not breaking it, and then the next time you hear it, it is like, well, that was a thing from my past life. I used to smoke cigarettes, but I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. And it is that thing about life that like you don't have this moment where you decide to go cold turkey and you're better for it, or you don't necessarily go on this journey where you're like, now I'm finally free of this thing. Sometimes the things in life change just so gradually that eventually you are stuck in it and then you are done with it. And those are the only two moments you realize any progress at all, is when you are already so far past the thing. You're like, oh, I guess I am like better than I was before.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about the album, because in like this genre, there is a lot of like sad boy music, and it's nice to listen to, but I like the spots of optimism that you have on this album as well. It's not just like, I'm a piece of shit. There's also like, I'm getting better, I'm getting out of my own head. Like, it's very real, and I think that's what draws me to it so much.
Yeah, no, I love that you picked up on that too, because I feel like for us, we didn't want to just create like a sad boy record. It's just with that, where they're just, you know, a defeatist mentality of like life sucks and nothing's going to get better type of thing. I think we wanted it to feel optimistic and feel like in the pursuit of your life, like there's these, you know, there's obstacles and there's, you know, circles that you go through, but like at the end of the day, like you're heading in the right direction, you know? So I think that like, you know, thematically throughout the whole thing, and it wasn't even necessarily that we were super intentional with doing this. I think it was just like us creating the record. I think we kind of like stumbled into being like, we were writing a lot of these songs that like deal with anxiety and deal with like this kind of like, this anxious kind of energy throughout the whole thing. But it all kind of has this like glimmer of hope attached to it that I think is that makes listening to it more fun. I think makes coming back to it even more fun too. So it's, you know, people don't want to just be like, yeah, I agree with this feeling of me feeling like shit all the time. There's nothing I could do about it. Like, I think it's cool to be like, I feel like shit, you feel like shit, we all feel like shit, but at least we're all heading in the right direction together, you know?
Wanted to hit on multiple moods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't write any of these songs, so I love listening to them and kind of thinking about the lyrics a lot. I think there is a very special form of maturity in that, like, the record really feels like about being in your late 20s or your 30s. It has this moment of like a moment of self-actualization where you are trying to have like, you're trying to be more realistic about you do not need to be perfect, and life is okay it's okay if it sucks, and also like it's okay if you suck, because you're just really trying, and there's some like self-compassion that comes through. I think it's a very uniquely, like, you're becoming this like one of these versions of adults where you are willing to be soft in yourself.
I feel like there are some narrators in these songs that I don't like at all. Like, I think that some of these songs are about assholes who don't get it really, and that was like intentional. I think we wanted like songs where it's like, especially like Enough Explaining. The point is that the narrator isn't just like sad; he actually is a piece of shit, and like doesn't get that he's like, he could do anything, but instead he's being self-pitying. And we wanted something that was big and dumb, and like, this is a dumb song for a dumb guy, and it rocks. It's just like slamming against a wall. And that was really fun. But I think that there are a lot of people in loops on the album. And I think that that's like the hard part of growing up, is like, I think for a lot of people, like you view kind of getting older as like a journey everybody's on. Like, you know, you get a career, you get a house, you do whatever, you have a kid you hate, you have a dog you like, whatever, and you just keep going. And at some point you realize, in whatever way, that you're a piece of shit, that you're just spinning out, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And then when you finally just write the car and you're heading in the right direction, it feels like everybody else is a lot further along. Mm-hmm. And you have to do the like kind of humbling work of like, I'm way behind where I should be, but I just have to start going. I can keep like spinning out and pretending like everything's all crazy, or I can just accept that I'm the one holding the wheel here and I can just point in this direction. So the album is like, it's like an album about, Brian, I think we joked about this like when it was done, it's the album of realizing shit, and realizing shit sucks.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and like, again, like there wasn't a ton of intention behind it, but I also think just like the mindset that we were in too, like putting the record together, like we were just coming off of downtiming, had to write a full record with, I know between Keegan and I know we had a lot of conversations about like, at what point is this band something that we should just keep doing? You know, like at what point is it like the momentum of what's happening is enough of an opportunity for us to keep writing and to keep, you know, being a band. And I think that energy in it too, of us being like, you know, we're both people who are 30, you know, Keegan's got a wife, I'm getting married. We both have had jobs. Like we're both very established in our lives. It felt like such a weird wrench to throw into it, to be like, oh, you know what, actually this like this music thing that we've been doing our whole lives, we're going to now take it seriously and try to pursue it as like and see where it goes, you know? So like, I think the energy in that was also like, is very reflective in the record itself, in that like, it was that feeling of like, not that we've been spinning out, but it's like, we've been, you know, we spent 30 years of our lives pushing this one thing away that we were both really passionate about, because it wasn't the thing that was like the goal of everything our parents instilled in us and everything that we thought we wanted. But just got to a point where it's like, music is something we love and we want to treat it with the respect of something that we love, you know, and be like, let's record it. Let's like play in front of people. Let's do the thing that actually makes us happy. And I feel like even though the record's not about that, I think that energy is definitely seen in the record, you know?
Yeah. And
yeah, I think you can hear that.
For taking that jump, guys, because I know that it's scary. Like up until now, you just do everything like you're supposed to. Like you went to school, you did this, you did that. So to kind of like veer off the path and really commit to this it's
Yeah.
super.
I blame
And it's
Free Throw, really. I mean, it's their fault for taking us on the road. Really just uprooting my life a little bit.
So
yeah.
how do
pushing
you
out the next
feel
level.
now that the album's out and it's like official? How do you feel like you did it?
Feels good. I'm ready to play some shows though. I'm ready to get back on the road. I feel like also like we're writing a lot too. So like I just like anytime we release something, I feel like I just get inspired to like do something different or like play some like write new songs and try to like explore like what other kind of style or other types of music we can write. I don't think anything would ever veer very far from what we're doing, because we like the music we're playing, but louder, faster, shorter. Yeah, but yeah, we've got some things that we haven't announced yet coming up that we're really excited about as far as like playing shows and stuff. Want to keep doing that, and hopefully we get some more opportunities in the future.
Definitely. If you come back to Jersey, I expect to see a watermelon on stage.
I can't say that we will. I can't say that we won't, but we may be in Jersey at some point in the future.
We'll be there.
Awesome.
I gotta ask because I know I first heard of you guys before Downtime came out because I feel like you guys had that buzz. I feel like a part of that is from Keegan's Twitter game. So I have to ask Keegan, like, how did you get so good at your Twitter game, and kind of how have you taken that tool and kind of like built it to build the band up to what it is now in its current state, at least for like getting your name out there in the music?
Yeah, I think I don't use Twitter in like a really professional sense. When I do music writing, it's a way that I've connected with a lot of musicians and bands, but mostly like I spend all day thinking about music. And Brian Lee, I can tell you, I just like call people all day long with like a thought about a single song or a single riff and just something that's really rocking my shit. And I think about it. I think in a kind of constant loop. That's what I'm kind of always thinking about in the back of my head. And I ultimately can't wake my wife up in the middle of the night to be like, have you ever thought about that Sonic Youth was actually really, really good? Like they were really that good. Like, so Twitter has just always been a place for me to kind of like just say the thoughts that nobody in my real life needs to be burdened by. And I don't think that I do anything special besides tweet too much. And I think if you're just there in front of people all day long, eventually people start recognizing you or what you're talking about or what you're doing. But using it for camp, when I was younger, I felt very shy about promoting my band. I think a lot of us from like the MySpace Pure Volume era did, because that what you did back then was so embarrassing to promote your band. And like, you know, going to Warped Tour and handing out your CDs to people who didn't want to talk to you, and like just awful shit you had that was like, oh, pay to play shows, selling tickets for shows. So you could, you know, if you sold 30 tickets, you could get to open the show or whatever. And it felt really bad. And it was like embarrassing as you got older, realizing what you did in order to try and like gain success in a music way. And you felt kind of played by a system that was kind of there to humiliate you. And as I got older, I realized things are different now. And everybody who's online, who's in that space already, is not, they see it, everybody's tweeting constantly anyway. Everybody's talking all the time anyway. They're not going to be annoyed by you specifically. And if they do, they'll unfollow you. And so you can just, if you want, tweet all day long, listen to my band, and eventually somebody will. And so I did that. I have a buddy who went to a camp where he swears that Mark Paffey from Bear vs. Shark was a counselor. And every day at the same time, he stood up on the hill with a traffic cone in his head and ran down the hill into the lake screaming, "Listen to my band," over and over again. And ran into the lake. And he did this every day just to kids he was at this camp. And I was like, well, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So I just started tweeting at people like, hey, would you like to listen to my band? Because I was like, why, who the fuck cares? Like we're all here online doing nothing. I might as well ask people who I think like this kind of music if they want to listen to it. And I think that it's really hard to figure out what to do to like promote your music or anything, but I think it's really easy to share your music. And I think that that's like, it's way different now. Like the past 4 years or something, Twitter has become a really actually valuable tool for bands trying to like just share their music. And I don't, it's not like, I don't know anything about how to do PR or promotion correctly or the right way. But I think that if you're a band who is of medium talent and average age and medium expectations of success, the best thing you can do is just to be annoying, to be there all the time, to be in front of people all the time and just say like, hey, we're not going to be around forever, but while we're here, we want you to know we're here. We want you to listen to our band, whether you like us or not. We want you to give us a shot. And I think that I think if you're sincere about it and you just really are like excited to be doing what you're doing, I think that'll come across. I think there's a clear difference between people who are trying to like network and people who are just actually excited about music and about that community.
Yeah, I think like also I like Keegan and Levi are both really good at this. They're just like people who are good at building communities, like people who, you know, Levi in Gainesville, like I feel like he's made an effort to be like, who are the bands here? Who are the people here? Like I want to reach out, like not only just to like play shows and promote myself, but to like actually care about the shit that you're doing. And Keegan's always been that way too. And I feel like, I don't know, Keegan, you mentioned this before, but you're like being online. It's like, it's just like being at a house party. Like you, like no one cares about the guy that's in the corner, like yelling to himself about things that are self-important to him. Like just go and talk to people, like interact with people, engage with people, like that care about the shit that you care about. And just build community that way, you know, like all of a sudden, like I was never online like ever until Camp Trash. And so like I was lucky enough because, you know, between Keegan and Levi, like both, there was already an established like community online that they were interacting with, and people who were like already rooting for us before we were even a band, that like wanted it to be good and wanted it to succeed. And we're probably really worried if it came out really shitty and was like, how do I look Keegan in his avatar eyes and tell him that this is good? I can't. But yeah, no, I think that just that energy of just being like authentically caring about what people are doing and what their music is and engaging with it, they tend to want to engage back. So
yeah, I think that you're not owed anything. Like nobody has to give a shit about you, and most people don't. Like we're just excited to be here. We're just happy that anybody has heard this shit at all. Like there I knew a lot of like music writer types that write about music and stuff. And so I think that we already had an audience who was interested in the kind of thing we did. But more than anything, I think that we're having a lot of fun, and I think that we're just trying to express that. And I think that we're probably annoying, and we're probably doing it wrong somehow. But I think we're just genuinely excited to be here and having a lot of fun. And we're just trying to communicate that however we can. And if that's by tweeting our own band name hundreds of times a day, then so be it. But I think we're having fun, and we're trying to make jokes, and like we're trying to build something that people feel like they're a part of. That's like, it's funny if we're all doing something together. And I've always found that hilarious. Like when Glass Beach Band would have people reply to every tweet about them, you have 100 people saying Glass Beach Band. I thought that was hysterical. I think the Camp Trash is a real band. Is that something I stole from Glass Beach probably? But like, I just thought it was so fun that the fans and the band had a joke that they shared. It wasn't just like the band performing for you or doing TikTok bits. Like it wasn't like about being cool. It was just about like finding people who shared your sense of humor. And people are nice as fuck online. A lot of my lifelong best friends are people I met online because we met over shared interests and caring about the same things. And I think that, I don't know, that's just cool to me.
Yeah, well said. I think the authenticity is huge. Just gotta get out of your own head to use your own lyrics. That's kind of what it comes down to sometimes. But yeah, guys, this album's awesome. We can't wait for you to come to Jersey. We'll definitely be there rocking out, whether it's House of Independence or the Pony, wherever you wind up.
Yeah, House of Independence might not let us back after the watermelon bit. So
Yeah,
just bring your own stool next time. That's all.
Yeah,
that's the lesson we learned.
That's the lesson. Bring your own stool.
Awesome. Brett, you got anything else for the guys?
No, this has been like I've been loving you guys since downtiming last year. Like, you guys made me forget that COVID was a thing when it came out last year, because like that's how good the EP was, and the LP was even better than like my hopes I had for it, and they were already really high. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us, though. It means a lot, and I'm gonna keep spinning this record for till the next one comes out.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, I with the way vinyl is in the world, I don't know when it'll come out, but I think that my favorite thing is about when we write something, when we release something, immediately we start like that energy carries us. Like a good third of the record was written in the first month and a half after we finished recording, after Downtiming came out. Brian and I wrote like a third of the record right away, and the album came out, and I think that Brian and I think the new record's probably like, we have 2/3 of the songs we need. I think it's just like that energy of like getting to share something with people carries us really far. And I'm excited to include, I think this record will have more Levi's writing on it. Levi has a ton of good bands, Buggin and Levy Skeevy, and he was in this band Poblano that was my favorite band ever. And I think that this next record is going to be more of like a full band thing, where we get to like let everybody kind of shine a little bit more. I think I'm excited about that.
Cool. Same. That sounds awesome.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Good luck with everything going forward. We can't wait to follow along.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Later.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, we're back. Thank you, Camp Trash. Thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Great band, even better people.
Yeah. We keep interviewing these bands, and then I want them to tour over here. It hasn't happened yet. Well, Grin and Bear. It's the only one so far that we've interviewed and then played.
Still waiting for that Cold Years tour.
Yeah. They announced more shows in like Germany
Overseas,
or some
right?
shit.
Yeah.
Not for them.
I'm sure it's coming
just,
soon.
It's just on seas. No, it doesn't make sense. Have you been, I don't even have to ask, but I know you've been listening to a ton of Phish.
I'm pretty sure we were texting the entire weekend about Phish.
General Adphisshion.
I love it. That's the official name of this new segment as I deep dive Phish this summer. I'm still going to deep dive Bad Religion at some point, but I'm definitely on a Phish kick right now. And I probably will be until the December shows.
It's Phish season. That's how it goes. I think tour wraps up sometime in the middle of August. Then I kind of like fall off for a little bit. Then they come back in December and I go all in for a month. And then I kind of like go on and off till summer tour again. Well, they usually do a fall tour, but Trey just announced a Tab fall tour, which is the Trey Anastasio band. So that's his like solo thing. So I guess that means there's no Phish fall tour. I don't know. We'll find out.
As long as there's a December show or 2 or 3.
There will be 4. There's always 4 days at the Garden. Like 28, 29, New Year's Eve, and the 1st, or however.
Are they hard to get tickets for, or as long as like you sign in like at the time, you're okay? Depends.
They do a lottery, so if you commit to buying tickets, then you might get picked and your card will get charged. So I always do that, and then you play the Ticketmaster game or whatever. But it's not that bad. As far as like, I mean, it sucks getting tickets, but it's not like the worst thing ever.
I want to go.
Yeah. We'll definitely go. Go. That'll be fun. You listened to a whole show.
I did.
Car.
Sandra and I had a long drive. So I listened to, I think we joined in like towards the end of the first set.
Nice.
Of the set I sent you. And then I had the whole second set coming home, and I was just hooked on every single song
Randall's
on that
Island,
set list. And Randall's
2013.
Island. I had no idea it was like an infamous show.
Yeah, the Chalk Dust Torture was like the longest they've done. Me and Goldie we went to all 3 days. That was like the first year I started following them. And Randall's Island is all general admission. So we get there one of the days and it was kind of raining and we were early. So like there wasn't a ton of people since it was raining. So we were able to get right up to the front of stage. So we were like 3 rows from the stage, and we just like hung out for like 3 or 4 hours before the band came on. And we were so close for it. It was sick. And Goldie used to bring these 3D glasses, like just the cheap pair you get from the movie theater. And like if you put them on at night, it makes the lights like even more trippy than they already are.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we were wearing them, and then like we just like passed them off, and then like we didn't think anything of it. And then we look up a few minutes later, and the bouncer at the front of the rail is wearing our 3D glasses. And we're like, holy shit, the bouncer's got our glasses. Then the bouncer takes them off and holds them up, and Trey puts them on. And Trey had our 3D glasses on. We were like high-fiving, go crazy. It was
what
so
a show.
fun. Yeah.
And that was this one that I listened to?
Yeah, it was that weekend. I think the one that happened at was the Sunday show. I think you listened to Saturday. I don't remember for sure though.
Yeah, apparently it's like the first time they ever opened with Sand.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Sand's such a good funky one.
Yeah, set 2 went Chalk Dust, Light, Tweezer, which I'm obsessed with now, as you know. Waiting in the Velvet Sea, Sing Monica, and Slave to the Traffic Light. And then they did, of course, the Tweezer reprise.
Tweet prize.
Reprise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid. And it wasn't so many songs because they played Chalk Dust for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was awesome. A legit half-hour song.
Were you in the car like after 20 minutes, like, wait, they're still playing this song? Because that happens live.
Yeah, I kept looking at the dashboard. I was like, wait, is this still the same song?
That's what people like to joke about. It'll be like the next day and they'll be like, is this still Chalk Dust Torch? It was fun. Yeah, me and Nicole did the same thing. We were driving 3 hours to PA to pick up a puppy, little Jasper. Shout out.
Shout out Jasper.
Yeah, newest family member. And they played Maine the night before. So like, yeah, it was Maine. So I'm like, I'm gonna save the show. I'm not gonna look up what they play, and I'll just listen to it like fresh in the car. And there are a few songs in, and Nicole hasn't come to a ton of shows with me, but every time she's come, they've played the song "The Wolfman's Brother," and
that's a good one.
We used to joke like our old German Shepherd Romeo was the Wolfman, and then her mom's dog Tucker would be the Wolfman's brother. So like, oh, that's like the boys' song. So we're in the car, and I'm like, maybe they'll like. It's an emotional day already because we're getting a new dog. We're missing our old dog. It's a whole thing. I'm like, oh, maybe they'll play Wolfman's like for the boys, and it comes on next.
Oh
and now
God.
We're like crying. We're like both tearing up. Like, what is happening? And it's just like the beauty of like music in general, or like a band you love, that they can like elicit that kind of response just from like connections you've made.
It's a sign from the universe. That is. Wow.
Yeah, it was something. Just like made me love the band even more. Just that things like that can happen. Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been fun following their shows. They played they've been killing it. They've been killing it.
I really need to see them live. The more live albums I listen to, like the more I'm getting hooked on like other songs.
Yeah. It's cool that like you can get familiar with studio versions first, and then you get to hear like the extended versions, and it's not as confusing. Brian that was pretty good on Brian's from Playlist Wars part to suggest that to you.
Yeah. And then what's the other one called again? The one that Tweezer's actually on?
I think it's on Picture of Nectar.
That's it. Yeah. That was the next one he told me to listen to.
Yeah. Have you messaged him telling him that you're now?
I did. Yep. I said you made a great recommendation with that and the Interrupters.
Yeah.
He's like, I told you, man. He's like, it's an addicting album, Farmhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
So my question for you is, at least early on, like I'm still very new to Phish, obviously, but I think I lean towards the riffy parts, meaning like the Carinis, the Tweezers. Are there like other songs like that I should check out?
Ooh. Chalk Dust has a great riff. Sample in a Jar is a pretty good riff. Good Phish riffs.
Like Slave to the Traffic Light, I like a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah,
fun
that
riff,
one
that
when the
one.
guitar's cut out and
Meow.
the piano comes in is just
Meow.
super cool.
Meow.
Stash, when you listen to Picture of Nectar, Stash has a really cool guitar intro. It's like played way up high. It's just like do 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 do, and then he goes into this whole thing. You'll definitely like that. Julius from Hoist. Down, 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 down. Yeah. Just keep listening. You'll find them, and you'll find jams that have great riffs, and then you'll like. There's certain versions of songs like I'm like I like this song, but when they played it in July of 2014, it was really good. Like just weird shit.
That's
like that.
crazy. And people know too.
Yeah. You can kind of pick out like late 90s Phish because they played everything like 3 times faster than they do now.
Is that like prime Phish?
A lot of people say so. And then a lot of other people think that they're killing it pretty hard right now because you could say that they're at like the top of their game musically, but as far as like shredding goes, like Trey was just on another planet in like 97. They called him Machine Gun Trey because he just like ripped that fast. He might have been on some PEDs back in those days before he got clean.
Oh, I'm sure with like the amount of jams they play.
Yeah.
So like that's why you said like a live one's a good live album to start with, right? Because that's like 95 Phish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice spot and it's nice and easy to remember. Yeah. We have any
There's so
shows
many
coming
options
up?
on Spotify.
Any non-Phish shows coming up?
We have a Day to Remember coming up soon.
That's a couple weeks, maybe 2, 3. That's the 7th.
August 7th. Yep.
It's also Phish weekend. I might see them Saturday and then see A Day to Remember Sunday.
Night and day, those 2 shows.
Yeah, seriously. And then Rise Against the week after that. You're not going to that. Then it's kind of chill till the end of the month.
Till 741.
Yeah, and Amberlin the day before that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then we have Gaslight in October.
Yeah. And My Chem on September 21st, which is still up for grabs.
Still TBD.
I don't know how I'm going to sell a single ticket. So hopefully.
You might be able to.
Yeah. But then I want to overcharge and then the person has to sit next to me. Although they don't have to know I sold them. Oh, no. My name's going to be on it. But they won't know my name.
It's true.
I'll just, if I meet them, I'll just be like, hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Hick Nodgens.
I could probably get pretty good money for that, but it goes against everything I believe in.
It'll come back in a bad way with karma, probably.
Yeah.
I think you get charged like 3 times a face value of a Phish show or something.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to put in the universe.
So yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty slow fall. Well, I say that every year, and then I wind up buying a bunch of tickets.
Shows get announced.
But I'm trying to chill out a little bit.
With the pup?
Yeah. My friend's band at work, called A Boy Named John, I believe is the name. I want to make sure I get that right. Yeah. They're playing like 15 minutes from me next Friday at this place called, I think it's Red House in Boonton, which is it's real close to me. So I might go over there and check that out. Depends how things are with the puppy, because I don't know if we can leave him. I don't know how I'm even going to go to work again.
He'll get settled eventually, though. Usually takes like a couple weeks.
Yeah. That was another Phish thing the week leading up to the puppy. Every time I got in the car in the morning, they have 2 songs about dogs. One is called Runaway Jim and one is called Harpua. And every day when I got in the car, one of those songs was on, which is just weird. I mean, it's obviously just a coincidence, but
for
still.
Every time. I think Runaway Jim was the first song playing when I turned on the Phish concert on Saturday.
Runaway Jane.
Yep, that was it.
It's
I
one
had
of
no
the
idea it
more
was about a
like
dog.
bluegrassy tunes.
And
Yeah, I'm
that went
glad-
into Bouncing Around the Room before
that-
the maze split open
yeah,
combo.
Yeah,
Where it got really weird.
That's a dark ride. That's why
That
they played Bounce Around the Room, because that's like light and happy. People kind of like think it's a set killer sometimes.
Bouncing
Some
Around the
songs
Room.
they're like, this kills the vibe. Like if they play a slow one, but if they do that, then you know they're gonna come in with something hot, and that's what happened. So you could kind of like guess the set list.
A half hour of chalk dust.
Yeah, melt your mind. I'm glad you're enjoying them. It's a lot of fun.
I am. I should have a report back on a picture of Nectar next week.
Nice. Do we have anything coming out? I haven't been hearing much.
I know Census Fail is the big one,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's pretty quiet till the end of the month,
All right.
which
Well,
is when
can do some
I
throwbacks.
guess.
We'll do some throwback listens. We'll talk.
Actually, I lied. There's 3 albums coming out this week, or 2. Got Jack White, second
Again?
new album, yeah, and Beach Bunny, who I've been telling you about, who are very, very good.
Beach Bunny. Are they like Soccer Mommy?
They're like a pop punky soccer mommy.
Another
Really catchy, really great vocalist.
nice.
Check out
I
their
li-
first album this week.
Okay.
You can.
All right. I'll do some Beach Bunny homework. Cool. Yeah. I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks Camp Trash for coming on. It's fun. We'll see you next week.
Until next week. Actually, one more thing before we go. So I think if it's quiet until the Day to Remember show, we should do some Remember a Day to Remember and kind of dive
Ooh.
into their catalog a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because that'll get us fired up for the show too.
We have a few guests on to talk about them with us.
They announced a new album. We
They
should
announced a new
have led
album?
with this. That's what Nicole told me. I didn't look it up. I completely forgot
How did
about
I
this.
miss that?
I completely forgot till we just started talking about it. That's what she said, but I don't know. I'm not seeing anything.
Where'd they announce it?
I don't know. Nicole lied to me. Would she do that? My own wife just lie to me about a band?
Hang on, there's something on Insta.
There is or isn't?
A new single,
Okay.
July 21st,
Miracle.
Thursday.
Will you listen to that because you're going to see them? Does that break
Yes.
the single rule? Because
I will
you're going to
listen
hear
that.
it at the concert anyway.
Although I'm
Possibly.
I'm more afraid, not because of my single rule, but because of how the last album was.
Or maybe they're going to come back with a vengeance. The font kind of looks, it's like stained
Looks
glass.
metally.
It does look metally. All right.
It's weird. They put on Instagram, but then their Twitter is just like not active. Their last tweet was April 6th, 2021.
721. All right. So that'll be good. We'll have that next week to kick off our Remember a Day to Remember. Love that name.
Remember a Day to Remember.
All right, cool. That's our show for real this time, maybe. I don't know.
Give you like a Marvel post-credit scene there.
Yeah. After the credits. Should I play it? I'll put that after my shitty guitar playing that no
There
one
you
probably
go.
sticks around for. All right,
and,
cool.
and your homework is to finish Stranger Things so we can talk about the show finally.
Yeah, text Nicole. Tell Nicole.
What are we up to now?
5.5.
Oh my God. You're literally doing an episode a week. That's insane.
You don't have to tell me that. All right,
At least you have a new season coming up by the time you guys are done.
I hope I get taken by the Upside Down, by Vectra, or whatever the hell the thing's called. All All right, yeah, maybe. And then we can talk about what our song would be that would get us out of there.
Yes.
All right. I mean, we could have talked about that now since I understand the premise.
We'll save it for the whole Stranger
Okay.
Things
Okay.
discussion that happens in October.
All right. We'll see everyone next week. We love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.